Yo, what is good guys, back here with another YouTube video, and in case you cannot tell by the title below, this video will be a video where I share my honest thoughts and opinions, top 5s, top 10s, reviews, all of that fun stuff on this wacky weird world people decided to call pro wrestling. As you can tell by the title below, this one will be my personal top 5 favorite tag teams of all time. Before I share my list, would love to know who is on your list down in the comments below. While you are down there, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, turn on post notification. Of course, you don't have to if you don't want to. It would mean a lot to myself if you did though. And yeah, let's get going with number 5. My 5th favorite tag team of all time is one of the current ones on my list, kind of like active and whatnot, Matt and Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks. And I know that people either love them or hate them. Obviously, they're on my list, so I love them. And it's one of those things where a big reason why they're on my list of favorite wrestlers of all time in regards to tag teams is because of the impact that they've had on wrestling, whether it's two guys from California making a name, betting on themselves on the independent scene in the US, doing the Ring of Honor, Impact wrestling deal back in the day, or betting on themselves again over New Japan, or betting themselves yet again for AEW. And it's one of those, I appreciate the heck out of them for that, and kind of like, I don't want, like, it shows the younger people that, hey, like, you can bet on yourselves and it can work out in your favor and whatnot. And plus, I've been able to meet them a couple of times over, and genuinely two of the nicest people that I have met. And yeah, Young Bucks are number 5, and on to number 4. Number 4 on my list is DIY, most known separately, honestly, as Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. For myself personally, even though they weren't together as long as other tag teams on this list, they, along with another tag team I'll talk about shortly, made me really believe in tag team wrestling. For those who don't know, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of tag wrestling, but them, again, with another tag team I'll talk about shortly, for the first time in a while, made me care about a feud in the tag division, like genuinely care about it. But yeah, Gargano, Ciampa, DIY are one of my favorite tag teams of all time. Plus, I have the plaque from TakeOver Toronto 1, where I legitimately cried when they held up the tag championships and whatnot, but of course they had to be on my list. Number 3 might be a little bit of a surprise for some people. War Machine, War Raiders, Viking Raiders, Hanson and Rowe, Eric and Ivar, whatever you would prefer to know them as. I will always call them War Machine and whatnot is my 3rd favorite tag team, another one that's been active over the last while and whatnot. But for myself personally, it's one of those things where they started tagging together because there was nothing else for them to do, and they, for myself personally, in ROH back in 2014, was one of those things where, like, if I read the television tapings, like the results, and I seen that War Machine was wrestling, I would watch it. I stood in their line SummerSlam 2019 weekend for like probably over a half hour just to meet them, and my photo with them, legit favorite photo with any wrestlers that I have. And that one interaction made it worth the roughly 5-year wait of myself like meeting them and whatnot. But yeah, like, they are, I don't mean this in a bad way, but they're big boys that can, 1, do big boy stuff, and 2, can be agile despite being big boys, kind of deal, like over 6 feet. Like, I don't know how much they weigh, but they're agile AF, nice AF too, or at least from my experience and whatnot. But yeah, War Machine, Viking Raiders, War Raiders, whatever you would want to know them as, are my 3rd favorite tag team of all time. My second favorite tag team is my favorite tag team going in recent memory, the Revival, FTR, whatever you would want to know them as. And like I mentioned earlier, them and DIY, their feud in NXT against each other back in like 2016, 2017 made me care about a tag team feud for the first time in a couple of years since War Machine and the Briscoes, which are an honorable mention in the Briscoes and whatnot. But yeah, for myself personally, whether it was back in like 2016 time period, 2015, or nowadays, whenever I get to watch an FTR Revival match, I'll always be like, for the most part, happy, like 99% of the time. Two of my favorite matches I've ever seen, tag matches that is, I've ever seen in person was the match that they had at TakeOver Toronto 1, and another one that was untelevised. It was FTR versus Bobby Roode and Chad Gable and whatnot. 2 out of 3 falls, like, went probably 45 minutes, worth the price tag of admission and the hotel and all of that stuff and whatnot. But yeah, whenever I want to watch a gosh darn good tag match, who do I put up? FTR versus pretty much anybody and whatnot. So yeah, they are my favorite tag team currently going over the last like couple of months, and my second favorite tag team of all time. Without a doubt, my favorite tag team of all time is Brian Kendrick, Paul London, and whatnot. To my knowledge, they don't have an official tag team name besides London and Kendrick. But for myself personally, they are the first tag team that I legitimately cared about. I started watching in January of 04. They started tagging in 05, 06 and whatnot, and no disrespect to the tag teams that were on specifically SmackDown back then, but they weren't captivating the mind or the heart of myself as an 11, 12-year-old back in the day and whatnot. And I rarely nowadays, but whenever I used to go back and watch matches of theirs, London and Kendrick's from back in the day, I go back to again being that 11, 12-year-old kid that's kind of I don't know for sure if jitty's the right word, but that kind of butterflies in the stomach of, hey, like, they're my guys kind of deal. And I know that they, for totally separate reasons, aren't popular nowadays. They're still like one of my favorite tag teams, definitely my favorite tag team of all time and whatnot, that for X, Y, or Z reasoning aren't popular or aren't talked about as much as other tag teams in the 2000s and whatnot. But yeah, they are without a doubt my favorite tag team of all time. Those are my favorite tag teams of all time. Would love to know what yours are down in the comments below. While you are down there, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, turn on post notification. Of course, you don't have to if you don't want to, but it would mean a lot to myself if you did. More importantly, hope you guys are doing okay mentally, emotionally, and physically. The world that we tend to make up is nothing but a fantasy until you wake up. I feel like I'm just lying to myself, yeah. Cause I just crossed the line like I'm playing offside. Do it how I want and I'ma do it till I die. Feel like I'm just lying to myself, but it's